That lump in your throat? It's panic.
Long ago, you sought to free us from Belsava's prison.
Since then you have grown, in mind and body, in skill and in spirit. Meanwhile, we have tasted death.
First, the pupils dilate. Muscles tighten. Hysteria replaces rationality. And then, the mind shatters. The dark side is strong with you. But you are in the presence of true power now.
You only delay what must be.
Dromund Kars, Nar Shaddaa, and Coruscant.
Populations will be infected and planets overgrown.
Mothers will kill daughters as soldiers weep in terror.
All you love and prize will fall. You will try to stop our ships and fail. Then you will be ready to join us.
100s of years before the Sith Empire returned from hiding, there were 6 powerful Sith Lords, each with a name that inspired fear into the hearts of those who heard them. Brontes, Styrak, Calphayus, Tyrans, Bestia, and Raptus. This group of human lords were famous within the Sith Empire as established advisors and researchers under direct order of the Emperor himself. Over time, this group began to realize that working in unison, becoming whole together, would exponentially increase their power capacity. With this realization came a new doctrine for the group. With Raptus as their unofficial leader of sorts, he directed them to mostly meditation and research on the Sith capital, Dromund Kars. The Emperor had constructed 3 devices imbued with powerful ancient dark side magics, named the Phobos device. The purpose of this creation was to inspire fear and insanity in one's mind. However, the power held within was far too strong for any mere Sith to manage, barring the Emperor himself. So, at his orders, the core device was placed within the Dark Temple on Dromund Kars, where to this day it still sends the minds of those who come wandering completely insane. Raptus and the other Sith Lords were so intrigued by these creations that they personally requested to be able to study one of the devices so that they may unlock the secret to inflicting terror and madness. Knowing that the Sith Lords had a profound reputation when working together, along with his favoritism towards them, the Emperor allowed their request. When he saw that they were able to contain the device's power and understand how to harness it, the Emperor allowed the group to transport thousands of slaves to a secret moon named Oricon so that they may construct a facility to conduct their new paramount research. All of this was done in secrecy from the overall Sith Empire, even the Dark Council. This was the Emperor's personal project now. The result was the construction of the Dread Palace on Oricon, along with the group's ascension into new roles, the Dread Masters. The group was able to fully harness the power of fear, terror, death, and dread. However, controlling this power could only be done with all 6 of them working in perfect unison. They relied on one another to hold each other up. Any other Sith Lord who attempted this before had fallen into madness and despair, yet the Dreadmasters were able to control this power while still maintaining control of their own minds. With their newfound power, the Emperor unleashed the Dreadmasters against the Republic after they returned to onslaught the galaxy in 28 BTC. Together, the Dreadmasters were able to conduct a powerful form of darkside battle meditation. However, this battle meditation would not increase the reflexes of their own starship pilots, nor would it enhance the strength of those battling on the ground. No, the Dreadmaster's meditation would send entire Republic armies into madness, striking at the enemy from within. The Dreadmasters alone were able to single-handedly incapacitate an entire army from a dreadnought in space. This dreadnought was kept constantly moving so the Republic could not intervene. But the Republic's patience with the Masters was wearing thin. They deployed Jedi Master Jarek Kaden to infiltrate the Dreadnought and stop the Dreadmasters. This Jedi in particular was said to be a living weapon of the Force, a truly formidable opponent for any Sith. Against all odds, the Dreadmasters were captured and then imprisoned in secret on the world of Belsavis. The Republic wanted the galaxy to believe the Dreadmasters were dead, so they announced that publicly. Yet the truth was much worse. They had decided to keep them prisoner within a top-secret prison that used old Rakatan technology, a testament to the power it takes to hold the Masters. Many years later, after the Treaty of Coruscant and during the timeline of Star Wars: The Old Republic, an agent of the Emperor was sent to Belsavis in order to recruit a notorious individual who could help free the Dreadmasters from the Belsavis prison. The Emperor wanted his most valuable assets back in his collection. The person recruited to free the Masters is the player character of the game. In an unusual turn of events, a native species of Belsavis that were kept dormant, named Eshkar, had escaped their own type of prison and began wreaking havoc for the Empire and Republic alike. This series of events would see a group of Force-using Eshkar attempt to use the power of the Dreadmasters to escape their enemies and leave the world. However, this plan proves flawed when the player character walks in and slays all of the Eshkar, leading to the Dreadmasters being freed from their Force-imbued cages. With the Dreadmasters free, the Emperor was pleased. This was just another event that adds to the notice the Emperor takes in you much later on. To learn more about the Emperor or any other Old Republic character, be sure to check out my explained playlist and subscribe, as more is always coming. Once again, this mission with the Dreadmasters was top secret, and their overall existence was still uncertain to most of the Sith Empire. Centuries had passed, and this group became private after their first discoveries with the Phobos device. The Dreadmasters returned to their secret palace on Oricon, where they would continue to aid the Emperor in his designs. However, soon after their release, the Emperor is rumoured to have been confronted by a Jedi on Dromund Kars and had been killed. This news travelled fast within the Empire, and once the Dreadmasters discovered this, or even probably sensed it, they decided to reject the Dark Council and create their own new Sith Empire, and appointing themselves the Dread Council. As their presence was essentially new to the galaxy again, and their history shrouded in secrecy, the Masters decided to hire a Trandoshan warrior by the name of Kethis, who could act as a face for their conquest of the galaxy. They sent Kethis to claim the world Dinerva in their name. However, these efforts were thwarted, and the Empire and Republic began to stumble down the path of discovery for the Dreadmasters. With the failure on Dinerva, the group moved on to another project that saw the summoning of a great creature known as the Terror from Beyond. The Dreadmasters had also healed and rebuilt their warlord Kethis. However, both Kethis and the Great Beast were defeated and driven back. At this point, the Empire and Republic recognized the Dreadmasters as a new adversary in the war between factions. Later on, the Masters once again attempted another strike by trying to steal a weapon from Ilum, yet once again their efforts were stopped. With patience wearing thin, one of the Dreadmasters decided to take action on their own. This was Dreadmaster Styrak. Styrak went to the world of Darvanis, where he would attempt to assemble a powerful army created of advanced droids and heavy weaponry, and even the support of the Hutt cartel, along with their mercenary guilds. When the Republic and Sith Empire gained enough intel to formulate their own counterstrike, they were able to completely dismantle Styrak's efforts and even slay the Master himself. With the death of one, however, came a great cost. The Dreadmasters were capable of their power because they worked in unison, as six. Now that one had been removed, the Dreadmasters began to sink into madness. This caused them to retaliate in a ferocious manner. Despite being killed, the Masters were able to take Styrak's spirit and bind it to his throne within the palace on Oricon. Oricon then became known to the wider galaxy as the Dreadmasters strike out at Republic and Imperial fleets. Darth Maul instructs the Sith who freed the Masters to bring about their downfall, which means the player character was sent to Oricon. Multiple strike teams were already deployed, however many soldiers and Force users were unable to shield their minds from the Dreadmaster's presence on the world. Simply being on the surface was enough to send Jedi and Sith alike into madness, causing them to turn on one another and do the Master's bidding. The Dreadmasters attempt to lure the player character into joining them, explaining that without a Sith, they are falling into madness. The Master's plan was to send ships to capital worlds throughout the galaxy, all of which had seeds of dread on board, which when planted would cause a world to become driven into madness and over time, depravity. Eventually, an operations group is formed and storms the Dread Fortress. Along the way, many challenges were faced, including defeating mutated creatures and advanced hunter-killer droids. At the end of the fortress, Dreadmaster Brontes was waiting. She alone fought the operation group as a test. Despite failing to stop them and being killed, the Masters once again were able to take Brontes' spirit and bind it to her throne within the Dread Palace further on. Eventually, each Master faces the group in a trial of combat or some other convoluted point that the Masters wanted to prove. With Raptus being last to face them alone, the group had proved its prowess and moved on to its final challenge, like a game. The entirety of the Dread Council, including the spirit of Styrak and Brontes collectively, attacked and defended against the operations group. After a grueling battle, the Masters were defeated and their grip on madness and terror slowly lost its grasp, while the galaxy took in a deep breath of fresh air. Be sure to check out my other videos as we cover a lot of the Old Republic lore. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. May the Force be with you.